Hi guys, it is Becky Chernick here with Chernick Consulting. And boy, I have a great opportunity in introducing and announcing Mr. Tony Wanderon, who is the president and CEO of National Auto Care. And boy, let me tell you something, it's exciting. He has actually founded the F&I Providers Relief Fund. And so he's here to share in what exactly that is, how it all got started, and what that is going to do for our F&I professionals and also the auto industry. So for those that may not, I'm sure you do know who I am, I have been providing the very best in finance and insurance training for automotive, recreational dealers, even allied industry professionals from the time that customer lands on that dealership website to the digital road to the sale, from sales into desking, from desking into finalizing this transaction, either with that finance and insurance manager in or outside that office, and even with a single sales associate. So we're going to be talking about the industry, what's happening based off of the COVID-19 crisis, and what's going to happen post-COVID-19 crisis with Tony. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Tony in with me now. And Tony, welcome. And if you can, introduce yourself to everyone. Thank you again for being here live on Facebook with Becky Chernick.
Becky, thank you for having me. I'm excited to tell a story about some of the things that we're doing to help F&I managers around the country, and appreciate the opportunity and the audience out listening today.
Well, okay, so I found out about this F&I Relief Fund, Providers Fund. And so how did that whole thing get started? What was the idea behind that, Tony? And where are you with this whole thing now?
Well, probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, I don't know what really triggered my mind, but looking at a lot of different companies and the impact that COVID had and shelter in place has been causing dealers and businesses around the country. I just started thinking about what we could do at NAC to help F&I managers that are in need. And we do business with a lot of dealers, as well as have a lot of great partners out there. And we really felt like there was something out there that we should be able to do, and started thinking as to how we could do that. And clearly, as a single mid-sized company, what kind of an impact could we have, as we're struggling today too with volumes? As the car business goes, so do the F&I providers in many cases. So I decided to just draft this quick email, and I sent it out to 20 people that I've known for a long time that represent some of the the prominent F&I providers in the industry. And luckily it resonated with them, and within about 3 days, we had $230,000 raised. We had NAE, Kelly Price, stood up and said, let me help you with the 501(c) charity, which he's had in place for quite some time, and they're administrating that for us under the Changing Lives Foundation. And she's been a tremendous help in getting this all set up. We put a board in place that are independent in their thought process and their review. And we're really trying to do what we feel like is right for the people that have supported us for so long. We get our paychecks, we drive our revenue by F&I managers selling the business. I've been an F&I manager. Many of our clients, if not all of them, have been too. And it's not really a thank you at all. It's really a need and a desire to help people that have helped us in the industry for as long as they have.
Now, Tony, you and I talked about this, and you've been in the industry for a very long time, and you have seen some really tough things happening and challenges in our industry. You were talking about what happened in I think that the flood, or in Florida, what happened there and how you overcame that. I just thought that was interesting to hear, because maybe we couldn't work out of the dealerships, but we certainly could work out of the tents. How did that whole thing pan out?
Yeah, it was really Andrew that hit South Florida and pretty much knocked out the entire area. That was an agent back then in Miami, and calling on a lot of dealers and working with them. And Many of our dealers lost their entire facilities. The F&I managers, sales managers, everybody at the dealerships lost their homes. We didn't have air conditioning. We didn't have a showroom, but we were selling cars, and we were selling a lot of cars. The flood that happened a couple of years ago in Houston, and the hurricane that hit, those are smaller events that in many cases, the factories, the providers can come together and help that particular area. This is a lot different. This is really worldwide, but for us, just everyone in the country has been affected by it. And in many cases, certain parts of the country have been affected much more than others. If you think about, the Northeast region or California, big markets that, drive a lot of things for all of us in the auto industry. And how do you take care of all of those people that potentially have been harmed, by this event? So, again, I think the critical part for us was recruiting, getting donations in. Today, we have over $430,000 raised. I'd love to call out every company that's out there. This isn't about me. This isn't about NAC. This is about every company that is providing support through this fund. And our goal is for $1 million. And we're hoping, that we can get to that level rather shortly.
Well, I think it's pretty darn impressive when you're able to organize or put together 47 companies coming together for this fund. So what is, for our F&I people, what is the criteria? Should they feel as if, they have an immediate crisis on their hands, a financial crisis on their hands? Can you walk us through the steps?
Yeah.
What should they do?
So we wanted to try to simplify this, and another point to this fund was really the challenges that many states are facing in providing unemployment insurance to them and federal assistance as well, and also getting the stimulus check into individuals' hands. So people need money today, and one of the questions I had is why did you decide F&I managers? They're one of the highest paid people in the dealership. Pain and suffering goes in a broad swatch here, and so does F&I. There are F&I managers that make less than $50,000 a year, and there's F&I managers that make $200,000 or more a year. And that really doesn't really cause us any challenge at all. We feel like if you're in need, your family has been ill, you've lost your job, you've been furloughed, we want to give you a facility to be able to express your need and give that information to us. We, as I said earlier, one of the things that I felt like was the most important was to have a board that would be able to look at every individual request. We do not know their names, and we do not know what dealership they work for. It is not anything that's based on a relationship of any of the providers. It is based on a personal need. And that was critical, I think, for all of us in the work that we did. And also, I think that's one of the reasons why I've been able to capture as much donations as we have from the member companies that are out there. And those companies are posted on our website too. And I wish I could name every one of them, because they're all just as important as anyone in this entire process. But the process is, you can go on our website. It's on Changing Lives and the F&I Provider Relief Fund. The questionnaire is applying for a grant is just your name and address. The only reason we ask for that is once we do approve the grant, we do some background review to make sure that the information that's being provided is correct. That is not done by the people that make the decision. That is done by the support staff that's on the backside. What your position is in the dealership, you have to be an F&I manager, and or you are furloughed as an F&I manager, or you've been laid off. How long you're in the business, and it's not just for auto, it's RV and power sports as well in that industry. And then reason for the grant. More information always helps us much better in determining the need, because the need really we look at between $5,000 and $2,000 is what our initial grants are to those individuals. And to date we have over 400 applications in. We have funded 140 or approved 140 grants thus far.
Nice.
And that was to the about $140,000. So, some again were at 500 and some were at 2,000, but many were at $1,000 grants that were paid out.
So if you can, for me, I'm going to put this on. What is the actual address for your website again?
It is changinglivesfound.org.
Hopefully I did this right. .org.
And you're just going to click on the far right side, which is the F&I Providers Relief Fund.
ChangingLivesFound.org. Is that correct? Do I have that right, I hope, or not?
Uh,
No.
That is correct.
Oh, wow. Go figure. Okay, awesome. So yeah, get it in there, guys. So if in there, gals, if there's a financial crisis that you're dealing with this COVID-19, you've been an F&I person and it's affected you. If you're on furlough, whatever, right? You can certainly apply, and I think that is absolutely terrific because I guess again, these stimulus checks are taking a good old time getting in, and or in some states, the unemployment insurance as well. So I want to go ahead, and if you guys would do me a favor as well, please share this, because we want to get this out to as many F&I people, providers throughout the USA as possible. So I believe that this is an incredible opportunity. And I also know, Tony, when we were talking a little bit earlier, even after this crisis ends, this fund is still going to be made available. I think you mentioned something along those lines, or is it just for the COVID-19?
No, right now that's what we're focusing on clearly, and we need to get through this pandemic, and hopefully we're all getting back to work, and everybody's going to be healthy, and we'll see some spike in business, and some people can make up, some of the income that they've lost. We hope that we will continue this on and have to, as we never want to deal with any disaster at all. Hopefully it's not a global disaster as it has been now, but where we do see hurricanes, floods, fires, challenges that are faced by natural disasters in our industry. We had the wildfires out in California, hurricanes every year, floods have become more prevalent, and hopefully be able to deploy some funds to much needed areas, either through the dealer associations or the dealerships that are affected by, the disaster that may hit them. But, again, we're focused today on COVID-19. To be honest with you, I've started a lot of companies and run a lot of them as well. But this is very filling to your soul and helps, you believe in people, but it's also a lot of work. And the benefit of the COVID right now is that we all have a little bit extra time to kind of think about these things, what's important. And, again, number one is that we wanted to, as an industry, as a group, and, please, any of you who do go on the website, look at the companies who have supported this. They are the ones that really are providing that opportunity for F&I managers to get those funds. I am not, even though I'm speaking today, I'm speaking for all of them, and truly appreciate their generosity and their commitment to helping everyone.
Okay, so here we go. We've got some questions, comments, and let's see who's here with us. We have Mr. Anthony Santangelo. He is with us today. And I also have Miss Christine Farnan. Hey, girlfriend, good to see you, Miss Christine. Scott Sullins, great calls. He's a great F&I person. And I'm so glad, Scott, you're here with us today, this afternoon. Christine Farnan, thank you, Tony. And what a terrific person, Miss Christine Farnan. She is an agent or company provider and training company in New York, Albany. And that's a great goal. Anthony Santangelo, Derek Bumper. Hey, how you doing there, Derek? Good to see you.
Got that light ball there. I saw that too.
And then Dominic, he says, very nice for you to do a fundraiser. But if these things don't turn around, I will have no company. Back to the drawing board for this kid. Okay, we gotta go ahead and keep optimistic. And this is simply amazing. Yes, it is. I love it. Frederick, he's my subprime hero. He's on. Thank you, Frederick, for being here with us this afternoon. And please, again, please share your ideas, your thoughts about how this whole thing is coming together. Thanks for doing this. I know so many people who are struggling right now. Tony, I'll tell you, as much work that you put into this, there are so many people that are so appreciative of what you're able and to put together for some of these guys and gals that are really literally struggling through this whole pandemic. What
Yeah,
a great cause. Yeah.
and that, look, I have to say again, this is really an industry support, not me and not our company. It really does make me feel that we have a great group of people that are in this industry, and we very specifically focus on F&I providers too. So those are the, roadside companies, service contract administrators, gap providers, ancillary product providers, technology companies, roadside assistants. Like I said, there's a lot of different things here. One thing that I haven't really said is we are continuing on that $1 million goal, and with the number of people that are requesting monies, please, everyone who is submitting the application, give us a little bit of time. We're approving on a daily basis. It does take some time to process. I promise you it won't take as long as the government to process, those approvals. But, if you're going to, please share as much information as you can for us to be able to make a determination, and give us a little bit of time to kind of go through the process. You'll be notified very quickly that we have approved you or not. And we will also then be asking for specific information just on validation. This is a great thing that I think, the industry is doing for everybody, as I said, and let's hopefully we can take care of as many people that need some help today.
So I think Tony Chersoff. He is a remarkable individual that I absolutely love. Hey, Tony, so glad you could be here. Great job, he says, Tony, to unite people to help F&I. And what a terrific guy Tony is. He's amazing. And then we have Mr. Scott. Scott, again, put the link on here for the donations. So, so we may want to consider that. Hope you all healthy lives and positive vibes. Thanks for any positive messages being shared. This is awesome. Thank you, Melissa Skinner. Appreciate you being here with us. That is terrific and such a great cause. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you again, Tony. And then we also have Missy.
Missy's a young F&I manager.
Go figure. She is a young F&I person, isn't she? So, couple things that I want to pick your brain about. That how do you see this whole thing shaking out as? And I mean, there's been a lot of conversation that more and more F&I people will have to figure out how to engage online with their customers. And really the day of waiting until the customer makes their way into the F&I office is over. And that it is, I guess, more proactive, I don't know, to get out there and meet customers on their terms, wherever those terms are.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that whole thing?
Listen, I've heard the demise of F&I managers since I started in this business 30 plus years ago. Mm-hmm. And, I think everyone needs to understand that consumers want information, but today it's a lot different. They want it the way they want it. And, a remote delivery has been available for quite some time. We used to do it at Largo Honda in Key Largo, Florida, back in the 90s. We would do deliveries in a motorhome with an impact printer. And we did 80% of our deliveries through Dade County and Broward County. And customer experience was fantastic and people liked it. And I think this really shows, again, dealers' ability to adapt to any situation that occurs at any particular time. If it's a tent you're selling in Miami at 95 degrees and still having to wear a suit back then, we did it. And, right now we have the ability, look, I don't think any of us really understood disaster recovery from a provider perspective. We all had to go to work at home. And we did, as an industry, I think we're doing better by having people remotely work. And I haven't been a leader that has bought on to the at-home, at work from home environment, but I am now. Our team has done a fantastic job, and I hear that from every one of our providers out in the market. So kind of equating that to F&I, what is the problem with having salespeople have more knowledge? I've always thought that It's better for a salesperson to know why they're saying no or why I can't provide it to you, and how to set the customer up with really not word tracks, but clear information. Our market is changing so dramatically just around AI and gathering information about consumers' driving habits. If you really knew how many miles do you drive, how many times do you bring your car in for maintenance, doing those types of things provide you a much quicker process and offering the products that the customer needs, not driven by pay plan, but driven by need. And when you sell by need, you sell more.
So here's what I hear. Dealers, although they are looking and know that they may have to change up, they have always, let's face it, protected the golden goose. And the golden goose, as we know, or I know, it's been my whole entire life, it seems, is F&I.
Right.
And, they're willing to go ahead and put their cars online. Then there was a big fight about putting their pricing online. And then they obviously have a choice. So to stay in the game and be competitive, again, that's when the pricing came out. And of course, because of that, some weren't as profitable by putting pricing online, and it got very competitive and ugly. And so this is, I think, the issue so much is I don't want to put my F&I online. I don't necessarily even want to put my products online. I definitely don't want to put product pricing online. And there's only so much information I want out there. Our whole idea is to get the customer in the dealership, get the appointment, get the customer in the dealership, and then it's all said and done. F&I will do their job. And if they're face-to-face, they can sell those products. Online, not going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think that I agree with that. And I think it goes by need and value. Mm-hmm. And, asking the right questions, gathering the right information up front provides you the credibility to be able to offer and sell products. Mm-hmm. If you're selling it based on your desire to make a pay plan work, then you're going to probably not be as successful. But, we've seen a lot of dealers really being engaged, not just now, but over the last year or 2 years, around wanting videos to be able to share with their consumers on their website, being more transparent upfront about pricing or value, bundling their products and offering them, either embedded in the purchase price of the car that adds some opportunity to really then expand upon that or add more value and add more coverages. So, I don't see, people still have to finance. And, and again, I think I started this off with dealers adapt, the people within those dealerships adapt, and they're going to adapt based upon what the customer wants. And, there's only so many times you can force somebody into a situation that they don't want to go into. And normally your CSI, you're going to have challenges in CSI, and you're going to have problems with repeat referral customers. So, I see our industry as already evolving, going in the right direction, and has been for quite some time. Everybody talks about how we're not transparent. We are as transparent as can be, regulations all over the place. And I think, we don't see the type of things that we saw 20 or 30 years ago, where the customer didn't know what they were buying. And there was only 3 products to sell back then. Now we have 20. So, to speed the process up, you got to find out what products really resonate for your dealership and your customer, not overload yourself with 20 or 30 different products and try to sell them. Be focused on the things that add value to the customer, that make them come back, because it costs too much to lose a customer today. And we all need customers to be able to survive.
So you do see the digital retailing piece, meaning getting more information out there for the customer, maybe give them the option to self-desk, to be able to determine their payments up front, to also make sure to give them the option of checking out different product options that would be available, including that into their payment, however which way, maybe a soft pull, maybe a metric. Some take it all the way through to a e-contracting solution, and some dealers are good with that. Some dealers say, I don't think so. I think, let's just get to some sort of an understanding of payment, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to engage with that customer, get conversation going with that customer. We don't need them to fully check out. What are your thoughts with that?
Yeah, again, I think it really depends on the dealership, the type of customer that's coming into the store. Clearly, if you have a customer with a lower credit rating that's going to be more challenged to be able to place that loan, then you need to ask more questions and be involved a little more deeply. When you're looking at super prime customers, they have multiple options: paying cash for it, going to their bank, their credit union, and really cutting us out. But we do a great job in getting those people into the dealership and providing them a value and a competitive value. If we weren't competitive, if we didn't provide value, then how are we financing 70 to 80% of the vehicles that come into the dealership? I don't think it's broken. I think it needs to be modified to some degree, but it has to be really based upon the people that you have, the talent level they have, the technology platforms that you have, and the products that you have, and the providers that you choose, that can help you get through that patch. We saw one price selling happen many years ago, and a lot of dealers jumped on it, and then they jumped right back out of it because it takes a little bit of time. Yeah. And changing a process doesn't mean tomorrow morning you're going to make more money, but it might mean that you're going to make more money, retain more customers. Overall wallet share will increase over a 12 to an 18-month period.
That's right.
So there has to be an investment, there has to be a commitment to it, and you have to find the right companies that can support you and train you to be able to make that happen.
I'll tell you, back in the day when we were talking a little bit about that, and I remember 1997 when I finally got promoted at JM&A to the AutoNation division, and it was okay. Now we're going out there to the middle of the showroom, and we are presenting menus for the first time, and customers were going to understand their base payment, their term, their APR. All this is going to be disclosed before we get into the product presentations, and everybody, including myself. Now, this was new to me. I was really good at box closing people. I was really good at it. That's what made me so successful. And why JM&A even hired me to begin with. And so now I'm doing the complete opposite, right? And go figure. It actually, I saw a big improvement. It didn't happen like overnight, like you said. It didn't. My belief was like, how is this going to work? How do I embrace this big change? But after about 30, 60 days, I saw, man, this thing is easy. This is like, how come I wasn't doing this sooner, later? And isn't that how that works, right? So I was in a really special environment to be able to launch that concept. And it does, and it wasn't easy. It was a bit scary because, again, I didn't know for sure. But it certainly helped to make my career when it was all said and done. After we moved from the mega stores into the new car stores, it was pretty interesting. It was a very interesting time in my life, in my career. But that's how I see it today. Today, it's wherever the customer wants it to be. There are no more walls.
Look, we're consumers are tied into price, right? I mean, they shop online. 80, 90% of the customers that walk into a dealership have been shopping online and looking at pricing. So, it's an evolution that F&I is going to continue on that way. It's an evolution if we're going to start doing at-home deliveries. And many dealers have been doing that for quite some time. It's not, again, something new. But you need to understand, and I think everyone does, is that there's cost associated to that. With COVID and this issue at this particular point, you need to make sure that the car is disinfected and is taken care of and delivered in the proper way. You need to make sure that the customer has provided all the information before you get there, because you don't want them backing out after you've delivered the car to them. You need to realize that when we do at-home deliveries, you got a 3-day rescission. They can come back in and bring the car back. I'm not scared of that because, the quality of the vehicles and really the review that those consumers are doing, they've made a decision that's the car they want, and retention is pretty high there. So, most of the time dealers have always said, I'm not going to deliver at home because they can bring the car back in 3 days. Well, today, again, price transparency process is a lot different. I can remember I started the Nissan Security Plus field support team, and Nissan came out with a $99 truck lease, and there was no gross profit in it for the dealer, and we had to put a menu together. And I was like you, how can this thing work? It's not going to. And it did, and it worked very well.
Yeah.
If I want to now call out, you said you work for JM&A. Last year I saw, or 2 years ago, that they had a virtual F&I manager on a TV set that was going to be in a dealership. Did I think that was viable? Not at that particular time. Do I think it today? Possibly.
Well, let me tell you something interesting. 10 years ago, and I'm going to find the article. I'm finding this article I wrote 10 years ago, if not 12 years ago, about the virtual F&I manager.
Yep.
And everybody and their mother said, there you go again, Becky, absurd, la la land, not happening. This is not going to take place. And I've got to find that article. It was either published on F&I Technology Magazine, one of them, but I'm going to find it. And so I'm going to ask them to dig through those archives because it is so ironic, right? And I've often thought, why couldn't we have a virtual F&I person? Because you know what? There could be a lot more credibility involved in that. People believe everything that they see on the internet. You know what I mean? So there's a lot to be said about that approach. And I think, again, if the customer feels as if they're in control of the process to some degree, right? If they really get buy-in, that makes the difference.
Listen, it's a give and take conversation, and you need to listen to what the customer is saying. And, again, I look at this as a watershed moment for us in the industry, but overall, just as a society. You have changes that are going to come out of this that are probably going to change for quite some time. 2007 and 2008, I still remember sitting in a room with people in the marketing side, and consumers will never go back to the way they were. They won't finance as much as they have financed. They won't do 84-month financing. Well, where are we at today? Where have we been at for the last 8 to 9 years?
That's right. Do you remember when the sky was falling and Ford announced 0% financing? What year was that in? Do you remember that? And everybody's like, Beck, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's 0%. The sky is falling. How are we going to sell our products?
And what happened with that? When you still look, we're still at peak performance levels for products being sold by consumers. Why do they buy those products? Because they need those products, because they don't have the financial security to be able to pay for an event that happens like that. So we all kind of, in many cases, think of everybody is just like us, and that's just not the case. Would I buy every product that you may buy? Maybe not. Maybe I would, but you got to ask. And, clearly disclosure, getting a little bit more technology driven, and there's a lot of programs that are coming out that I've been seeing that are just phenomenal in their ability to really transact business externally. And things are coming together there that dealers are going to have more options than they could ever ask for. And really the challenge is going to be, which one do they want to do?
You know what? We've got some comments here. Mr. Brian Reed. How can I donate? I know you know Mr. Brian Reed, Mr. F&I Express Lucky Me. Anyway,
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, that's right. And
if you go to the changinglivesfound.org, or you can call me. I can give you my phone number now. It's 904-707-7509. Don't call me for funding of your donation, but if Brian, give me a holler. That's my cell phone.
Definitely, Brian. That's awesome. And then we have, thanks for sharing the message for the relief fund on this platform, Becky. Link here for anyone who would like to donate or apply for a grant. Here we go. Yay. Thank you so much.
Alexia is my assistant and heads up marketing. I haven't seen her in about 6 weeks, so hope she's doing well.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm so glad you were able to go ahead and put this on here. So I'm going to leave it up for a couple minutes and make sure you guys can maybe link to that somehow. Know that it's embedded into the Facebook Live. And then we have, on behalf of all the amazing finance managers out there, thank you again for your support. Laura Berman from my neck of the woods, Baltimore, Maryland, although she may not live directly in Baltimore. We had a fantastic, fabulous, I had my F&I roundtable in Baltimore, Maryland at the Inner Harbor. That's several months back, but
hopefully we can do those again someday soon.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice, Tony? Maybe you could help out with that.
It would.
That would be great. Maybe we can get some sponsors going on there. That'd be great. We had some good sponsors. We had a lot of the tech companies there talking about their digital retail platform, that sort of stuff. But I want to talk about, when we get in and hopefully to our next F&I roundtable, we're going to talk a little bit more about the Profit Center, right? and how to really make a big difference. Because, we talk about all this technology platforms, and don't get me wrong, they're all great. They all do something a little bit different, but unless it means something to the dealer and their culture and aligns to what's happening inside the dealership, it's not going to be very successful. So I really want to talk more on that piece. I think that is really huge. And then Tony's one of the best. Jamie Walker, boy, let me tell you, you got your crew right here. This is great. And Lou, seed is given to the sower. Thank you for being the hope that we need. Awesome. And then we have love, transparency, and protecting your customers. Deborah Bailey Templeton. Do you know Deborah?
No, I don't.
She's awesome. Deborah, thank you so much. She does a lot. She actually, I think she still lives in Virginia Beach. Nice place. Adam, get it, girl. That's me. That's me. I'm getting it. And then we have good show, Anthony Santangelo. I think so, and I think this is absolutely remarkable. And I can't thank you enough. I mean, Tony, for having enough faith in me and putting yourself out there on a Facebook Live with Becky Chernick and talking about the F&I Providers Relief Fund with me. I mean, I was just ecstatic, frankly, guys, when I was talking to Tony and he's like, hey, what can we do together to go ahead and get the word out? And I'm like, get the word out. I would love the opportunity to get the word out here. This is something I live and breathe for. This is who I am. So this is a great opportunity to really help others who are in a tough situation. Randy, thank you. Hey, Rebecca, great broadcast. I appreciate that. And then we have Christine Farnham. Thank you, Becky and Tony. And great show. I appreciate it, Christine. So the thing is, I think we're all kind of feeling this whole thing out, how it's going to pan out. Will business go back to some normalcy, to the way that, we've been successful? And I think to some degree in certain pockets, it probably will.
Yeah. Look, I think we were coming into headwinds anyway, guys. I mean, when you look at affordability, one of the challenges that I think we're all going to face when we get back to some normalcy is used car values have dropped pretty dramatically over the last month or so. We're seeing, clearly the factories and the captives are stepping up with some pretty attractive programs to try to drive people into the dealerships. But, affordability is going to become the challenge, and negative equity is going to become even more of a problem while we're bringing those customers in, when, a car that they were driving 6 weeks ago is worth $15,000 and now it's worth 12 or 10. I've even read things where industry experts have told dealers to sell your inventory right now. Now, it looks like it's bottomed out. It looks like we've had some recovery, but, I've been telling my team, manage, each day like a week, manage each week like a month, and manage each quarter, each month like a quarter, because things are just changing so fast that we need to adapt to those. And I know our dealers are doing that. And I know that everybody in the industry is ready to get back to work and safely get back to work. And, I'm just leave it at this and say I am extremely appreciative of everybody that has given to this fund. And again, I really wish that all of you who can look, go online, look at those companies, ask those companies you do business with if they have supported this. And if they haven't, tell them to, because these monies are going out to the dealers, F&I managers and you. And I think it really does tell a great story about the companies who are supporting this and have put in $20,000+ to help individuals in need. So I thank you, Becky, for allowing me to talk today and share what we're trying to accomplish. And, I'm excited about being able to help as many people as we can.
Well, thank you again. I appreciate the opportunity as well. I just wanted to go ahead and put that link back up again. Make sure to give everyone an opportunity to write it down, and anything that I can do. If you have any questions for me, y'all know how to reach me on my timeline or on F&I Today group or Becky@ChernickConsulting.com. And I'm here to help in any which way that I possibly can to support our dealers and our F&I people. I know that they certainly do a terrific job. And thank you again, Tony. I again appreciate the opportunity of being here with us on my Facebook Live. Thank you again,
Thank you.
Tony.
Thanks.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you, guys. It's been
Bye-bye.
fun. Thank you. Here we go.